We're going live. It says ready to go live. We're
It says
live.
you're live. Here we go.
All right, good deal from the new location. Welcome to another Money Moves. It is Tuesday, the 25th, I believe. Yeah, is that right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so, welcome everybody. We are live here with the Money Moves, and we've got some exciting stuff to talk about. We're talking specifically to you Gen Z viewers out there and what's going on with that. We're going to talk about something you've got a lot more valuable than money, something you've got. So we're talking about time and what you can do with it. So Wendy, let's kind of go through our little thing here, and then we're going to talk about it. Wendy's got some great points she's going to bring up as well. So do us a favor, click that little subscribe button down below, and if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, go to Black Swan Money and do that. BlackSwanMoney.com. And we'll get started in just a second. And we're back. So, yeah. How are you doing?
Doing great. Doing great. We're both in different locations today. I'm in my old bedroom, the one I grew up in. It doesn't look the
really?
same, but
Visiting with your parents?
yeah.
Good stuff.
At my
Yeah, and
mom's.
I'm in my new location. So for those of you that may or may not be aware, I moved, and I am at a remote secret bunker of financial wisdom. So I'm just kidding. But living out of boxes, I hate moving, and it's just part of it, I guess, but here we are making it happen. And again, we're talking about something a little more valuable than money, which actually a lot more valuable. We're going to talk about that, which is time. And that's something that people squander it all of the time. So I hate to say that, but I know you and I talked about it a little bit, so I'm going to let you kind of kick us off, and let's go.
So yeah, it's in January of this year, I heard somebody, you and I were at a conference and heard people talking about the different generations and their mindsets towards money. And I had never really thought much about what generation came out after the millennials, but I realized most of my kids are that next generation, which is Gen Z. Yeah. And so those adult Gen Zs right now are 18 to 25 years old. And they actually, what we learned at that conference is they're actually more likely to invest than millennials, right? They've grown up with like the crypto era and where you can just download Robinhood on your phone and start making investments, right? And so I have a son who's 20 and he's he's got a lot of money invested and he does stocks and he, gets dividends and, all, and then crypto and all the things. But, I was just thinking about like, what can those 18 to 25-year-olds right now be doing to set themselves up, not just for, the little play money that they throw in stocks and crypto here and there, but really set themselves up for long-term success. And, that thing, that they have that's so much more valuable than how much money they put away is the fact of all the time. If they get started now, how much time they have, and kind of with creating that consistency. So one of the things if you want to speak to the rule of 72, right? That's a rule I didn't even know existed. I didn't even know that formula until I started working with you, but really getting Gen Z to understand that, how your money doubles and then how many times they get to double it between now and their retirement years versus us, right?
Yeah. I mean, you look at, what the whole rule of 72 is basically talking about compound interest, right? It's taking the money that you're putting away and how long is it going to double over time. Now, there's some other factors in, if you get a market loss, things like that. That's why you always want to go with protected asset classes. Yes, folks, there are ways to get returns and not worry about down markets. So when you look at the time piece, you've got to look at it as you've got two factors when it comes to building wealth. Okay. Money and time. So the less time you have, the more money you need to put away every month. The less money you have, the more time you need. I guess I just said that. So the less time you have to put away more money. So that's why people that wait until their 30s or even wait until their 40s to get serious about building wealth, they have to put away so much more. And that's why people are, kind of behind the 8 ball, right?
Right.
And so, you look at that rule of 72, all you do is you look at your return that you're getting. Okay. The S&P, for example, it averages about 7-8% somewhere in there. This is not investment advice. It's just kind of theoretical discussion. But you start looking at taking that number 72 and divide it by the interest rate. The number of years it comes back is how quickly your money's going to double at that rate.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if I was getting a 7% rate of return, 72 divided by 7 is about 7 point, right around 10, a little less. So, every 10 years, your money's going to double. Well, you think about it, you're only going to work 30, maybe 35 years in a traditional sense, right? But if you were to save, $200 a month, and let's say you were just getting 7% return, okay, and you can go out to any calculator out there and do this, that $200 a month, which let's be honest, it's not a lot of money. $200 a month, putting that away every month, and you do that for 30 years. So let's say you start at, 30, which is kind of a late start, but you start at 30 and do it till 60. That's going to be worth about $244,000 at 7%. Now that doesn't take into consideration loss and stuff like that, but to have $240,000 now, is that enough? No, right? To have a nice retirement, but if you add to it as you get older, like when you get pay raises, instead of saving 200, now you're saving 300 or 400 or whatever the case may be. And that's one of the things that, we kind of need to talk about today too, is what should you be doing? What you start with is not what you finish with, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But starting, at age 18 or 20, right, and getting into that habit now, I think, right, is powerful and increasing over time. So the first thing we want to talk about to start putting away, right, I know I was talking to my son about this, a lot of kids don't have a budget because they don't have a ton of expenses, right? Maybe they're still living at home.
Spending plan.
So yes. So create a spending plan and get in the habit now of paying yourself first.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, you look at middle class, what we do, and I'm going to jump in here on that, pay yourself first. What do? We know how to make money. We go out, we talked about that before, right? So we make all this money, then we pay our bills because we want that good credit score, right? And I'm not saying don't pay your bills. That's not what I'm saying. But who gets what's left over? Well, that's what you save. You save what little is left over. What you want to do is build that spending plan, be intentional about your money, about your wealth, and plan on saving 10%. Ideally, you want to be putting away 20%. I know that's, oh my gosh, that's way too high. Folks, it's not. But work your way up to that, right? But pay yourself first. So I know I'm going to put away X number of dollars, $200 a month or whatever the case may be. And then I'm going to build that spending plan to live on what's left over. So you get paid first. You're the person working your butt off, right? Why are you paying everybody else first? Pay yourself first, right? So
absolutely. Love that. Yeah. And then the next thing, right, is creating that habit. So set up the spending plan and then create that habit of consistency. So, making that discipline that you're doing it every day and increasing that dollar. So it's not going to be what you start with today, like John mentioned earlier, right? What you start with today in saving is not going to be where you are. I would encourage people, rather than picking a number, right, but pick a percentage, like you said.
Yep.
And it's much easier to start with 20% when you're single and you're have no kids and right. And you don't have a ton of expenses that you've built up over the years. It's way easier to just go ahead and commit to the 20%. But the power is in that consistency of always making sure you put away.
That's your first priority. Don't rob from your future self. And here's the thing. And a lot of people think, well, I only get a 5% match at my 401k. Well, that's okay. Your 401k should not and is not your only strategy for retirement. It should not be your only strategy. It's okay, but it's like grocery shopping at a gas station convenience store, right? Limited selection and higher cost. But grab that match. But you want to work yourself up, like I said, to 20%, 25%. Bottom line, folks, it's all your money in the end. The more you save, the more it's going to last. But you cannot expect 5% of your earnings to pay for 100% of your life down the road. And that whole, oh, you'll need less money in retirement. That is such a lie. You will not need less money in retirement. You're going to need more because every day is a Saturday. Plus, you're not as healthy, so you're going to need more medical. Oh, and let's not forget inflation. So you're actually going to need more to buy the same amount of stuff today. So anyway, so that's definitely important.
And then third, I would say you're not too young to start building your money team. Right? Find that financial person that's going to coach you through, because there's so many different things out there. And, you mentioning, right, 401k, I think so many people are, I got to get the job with the 401k to put the money away and have the match and max out. People are proud of themselves for maxing out the 401k. But if you get the right people around you and a money coach that can teach you what tax implications there are down the road for things like that as well, because taxes are on sale right now, right? So, man, if I had to do over, if I was 20 years old right now, I'd be putting away as much as I can post-tax as possible, because taxes, we all know they have one direction they're going to be going.
Here's the thing. I mean, you look at it, and historically, you can go back and look at tax rates in history, right? And they've been as high as 94%.
Yep, 94.
We're at 30, I think 37 and some change right now, maybe 39. I don't have the exact figure in front of me. But that's less than half of what it was. And you look at it, I'm young and working. I've got an income. Why wouldn't I want to pay them now? Right? Get them out of the way. So that way, when I don't have an income, which is what retirement is, I don't have to worry about it. Plus, if, ask yourself, do I think taxes are going to go up or down? And like you said, yeah, they're going to go up. Of course, they're going to go up. We're 30 plus trillion in debt.
Yep.
I mean, and that's the thing. And you look at, but again, your 401k is not your only strategy. So, again, get that spending plan in place, pay yourself first, start now, right? With consistency with increasing amounts as you start making more money. Don't go out and buy the bigger car, the bigger house, or the boat, right? Go out and stack cash. It's all about building wealth to give yourself that freedom to be able to go and do what you want in life, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And like, to that point, right? One of the pitfalls, I think, of young people is that comparison, right? And seeing maybe the friend that has this or that and telling yourself, oh, I can afford that, right? I can afford that. But I would encourage, that Gen Z, right? Like, to really focus on living differently now so you can live really differently later, right? When you create those habits now and avoid comparing yourself to somebody else and focus more on building wealth than having things, you're going to live a life like nobody else down the line, when everyone else is buried in the debt they've created and you get to have freedom. And so, and here's the thing too, we know this, right, John, because we're older, but time flies. I mean, time goes by fast. Before you know it, you blink and you're 40. It's like,
that is so true. And it's one of those things that, you think you're only missing out on a little bit. And I talk to people about this with cash, and, I'm going to cash out my 401k. It's just a few bucks. And you're robbing from your future self. You want to set your future self up for success. And the way to do it is to start small, but start as soon as possible. I mean, if I could go back to my 20-year-old self and talk to, but I was worried about whose house are we partying at this weekend and stuff like that, and going out and, spending money and having fun. Well, you can still do all that stuff. And that's why that spending plan is so critical. But you've got to have that money mindset at an early age. And it's not too late, for the millennials and, the Gen Xers like we are, right? I mean, the Gen Z, I think it was 96 through 2010 is the age range, right? All three of my kids are Gen Zs. And they're smart about their money. Like you said, they're saving more. They're more apt to save, but I don't think many of them are starting. They don't really know where to go. They're just now getting their first jobs and stuff like that. And guys, you can be in school, in college or trade school or whatever, and get started building your wealth right now. My daughter is 20 years old, and I'm amazed at what she's been able to do. She's very entrepreneurial minded. And just some of the stuff that she's been able to do with her multiple side hustles and stacking cash. And I've told her, I said, I've got clients that don't have that much money put back. And my two sons are kind of on that track as well, but she's definitely leading the pack. And it's neat to see, and they're not caught up. I think, the Gen X, our generation, went through the roaring 80s and the 90s, with Wall Street and all that, those movies, the flashy BMW. So we got caught up in the flash, and spent a lot of that money. And now we're like, ooh, and there's still time for those. And the millennials are just kind of, I think they saw the debacle in 2008, with their parents and things like that. So I think they're just skittish, but they're starting to warm up to it as well. But it's never too late to get started, right? Yeah. The best time to get started building wealth is when they get that first job or that first side hustle, if you're an entrepreneur or whatever. But the next best time is today. If you haven't started, I don't care what your generation is, get started today. So
absolutely.
That's all I got.
We'll run out on that because that was a good close.
Yeah. So there we go, everybody. Hey, thanks again for joining us on Money Moves. We don't, make any money doing this. We love doing it because we're trying to help you get your financial house in order. But you can help us by giving us a little love. Give us a like down below or a heart or whatever the case may be, and share this. We'd appreciate it if you'd share it. And like I said, go out to our YouTube channel and you can catch all of our back episodes. This is episode 110. Right. So we've got all this information on money, what you can be doing, how do you build wealth, tax strategies, all kinds of stuff right there at your fingertips. Just go to blackswanmoney.com. And like I say every week, we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye, everybody.